guess I am live. Welcome to EVTN News. I'm definitely having some real trouble with some of this technical stuff. I don't really know. Um, Looks like everything's sideways for me, but I think you probably can see me the right way. Um, Eventually, I'm gonna have to probably turn my phone to see the comments, and then I guess it's gonna want me to do vertical streaming from now on, it seems like, based on the latest YouTube updates, so that's really annoying. But, and that's sort of what I've been fighting with. I deleted the last two uploads very shortly. So, anyway, um, I think all the more reason to switch to a different device, but I can't really. I'm gonna have to figure out what I want to do with that. Anyway, I got a lot of stories, so and I've lost a lot of time already. So let me get into this. Bishop Bishop Heiner Wilmer of Hildesheim, Germany, has appointed 3 employees for LMNOP propaganda as of September 1st. The press release gives examples of their work as contacts for parishes. When an LMNOP couple wants to register their child for baptism, is number 1. Number 2 is when a gender misidentified person wants to celebrate a transition with a blessing ceremony. Number 3 is when the parents, groomers of a non-binary child, seek pastoral care. The diocese wants to broaden the view of how to deal with gender diversity. Okay, so that's what's going on in Germany, and it's not Catholic. This is not the Catholic faith, and I think a lot of people are waking up to that. Maybe if their parish isn't as crazy as this, it's still there's definitely some things that people are waking up to, especially now in the Francis Church, in the utopia of the Francis Church. And if you're watching, please leave a comment if you have one. Okay. So Mueller, on June 29th, Cardinal Gerhard Mueller ordained Father Antonio OSB, Order of St. Benedict, a member of the Benedictine monks, formerly in Villatala and now in Tagia, Italy. The celebration took place in the Latin Rite. So he ordained a priest in the Latin Rite, and multiple priests. Despite the unjust laws of the anti-Holy Mass document Traditionis Custodes, it took place in France together with the priestly ordinations for the Institute of the Good Shepherd, which that's not so well known in the United States because they only have one church in the United States. But the Institute of the Good Shepherd actually, they have canonical status and they criticize Vatican II in their documents. So I don't know how you, I don't know how you get that, but they got it. So good to them. I think the person who founded it was former SSPX. I don't know the entire story of it, but it's nice to have a lot of different religious orders that celebrate the Latin Mass. So I like that. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican's Secretary of State, responded to an email from LifeSite News. Now this is very interesting. He said, "With apologies to the delay, I am replying to your email stating that the media reports about a role of mine in the Latin Mass issue are completely unfounded. I can only be saddened that false news is being circulated, but my defense is the Lord." So, they emailed him a while ago asking about crushing the Latin Mass, and he said the role of his in the Latin Mass issue is completely unfounded. So basically, he was denying his involvement in the attempt to crush the Latin Mass, and as of right now, it seems like the people that are behind it are not in the favored ones of the Francis Church at this point. Okay. And again, if anyone's watching, please leave a comment. Let me just give this a little twist here. And I don't think... let's see. Okay, well, I can't really see... I don't see if anyone's watching, and I don't know if I can see comments or not. So, yeah, like I said, please leave a comment if you can see it. It's like a new format for me, and I don't like it. Okay. I don't like it. I'm probably going to have to stream vertical. I really don't like that. Let's see. Okay. And of course, the big news is going to be last, or well, close to last, about Francis. So, Pope Francis approved a diocese merger in Wales, and the following was posted in on the Archdiocese website. Archbishop Mark O'Toole has shared the joyful news of the creation of the new Archdiocese of Cardiff-Menevia, a decision promulgated by Pope Francis on the 12th of September. Ave Maria, Hail Mary, the greeting of the angel Gabriel to our Blessed Lady is, of course, the beginning of a precious prayer for all of us across South Wales and Herefordshire. We have further cause to rejoice in this heavenly greeting, as this past Thursday, the 12th September, the feast of the Holy Name of Mary, the Holy Father promulgated the creation of our united Archdiocese of Cardiff-Menevia. So this is joyful news that the one diocese was failing enough that it would be merged, and it's what is it? We have further cause to rejoice that the one diocese is failing. So, and I read the website, and I couldn't tell. I thought it was probably a merger, based on some comments I saw online. But if you go to the website, you really can't tell that it's a merger. They're just too busy rejoicing to have to get a good idea of whether or not it's a merger. So that's what they do, I guess. Oh, thank you. Yes, you are sideways. I'm sideways. So that's really strange. I really don't like this. All right, can you see me now? Does this work? I'd like to know. Okay. Am I vertical? Am I up and down right now? So I'm normal now. I don't like this. Okay, so I actually have to, in order to do anything, I'd have to twist it back sideways. Okay, so I guess I'm going to be forced to stream it like this. I don't like this at all. But I guess if that's what I have to do, it'll probably make things easier. Last week it was annoying, but anyway. All right, let's move on. So let's talk about Latin Mass crushings. In Archbishop Rosansky's most recent parish closure initiative, the St. Louis Diocesan Latin Mass was one of the casualties. St. Louis, Missouri. St. Barnabas in O'Fallon, Missouri, on the outskirts of metropolitan St. Louis, was a flourishing parish that exclusively offered the Latin Mass when it was closed last year by the decree of Archbishop Rosansky. Despite zero debt and a vital and growing community by the Vatican's own admission, the parish was slated for closure among 33 others in the Archdiocese as part of a severe downsizing project titled All Things New. The parishioners used canon law to appeal to the Vatican and were rejected. They used the argument of the salvation of souls, but obviously the Vatican was not concerned. They don't care. They don't care about the Latin Mass. They don't care about helping people who like the Latin Mass. In fact, they want to crush you because you're a threat. You're a threat to the Vatican because you believe in the Catholic faith. But furthermore, you see the parishioners that want to restore the mass, and they use canon law. But the modernists don't care about canon law. I've said this a million times. The modernists don't care. So you can use canon law all you want, and they don't care. Even if they're wrong, because they'll just change it or ignore it. Either or. They can do both. Because they're the modernists and they get away with everything in the Francis Church. Haven't talked about the Arlington, Texas Carmelites for a while. This was just posted on their website. For the past several years, we have experienced much joy and spiritual renewal in the rediscovery of the riches of the immemorial liturgical tradition of the Church, in our desire to grow in holiness and an ever deeper fidelity to our Discalced Carmelite charism, and as an appropriate means to better serve our Holy Mother the Church. In August, following the unanimous decision of the chapter of the monastery, and with the agreement of the whole community, we completed the final steps necessary for our monastery to be associated with the Society of St. Pius X, who will henceforth assure our ongoing sacramental life and governance. So this Carmelite group of nuns, it's been a very strange journey throughout the last year or two. Bishop Olson tried to shut them down forcibly, and it didn't work. And there was a lot of back and forth. And the pillar, they were getting comments from both sides, so it was a very crazy story to follow. Apparently, so the bishop accused the Mother Superior of having an affair with a priest, and the biggest evidence he could produce in favor of this claim was that the nun admitted to having a phone conversation with the priest. So was it really an affair? And yeah, so that was pretty much the extent of what he could charge her with. And I mean, just talking over the phone, I don't know. It seemed like a very bizarre story, and a lot of the facts didn't add up. Then he accused them of having drugs and paraphernalia, and I don't know if he was trying to frame them or if they really did. I don't know. It was a very strange one. All right, so that's that. So they're associated with the SSPX, and that should be the end of the story. They're going to move on in peace, and I think this is the first Carmelite order of nuns to affiliate with the SSPX in the United States, at least, maybe? I don't know. I think so. There's the one group in Florida that's independent right now, but I would imagine they'd like to associate with the SSPX. They're sort of setting up the framework for their Carmelite monastery. Okay. Now more Latin Mass restrictions. So I talked about the Arlington. We're moving from Arlington, Texas to Arlington, Virginia. And I talked about the Arlington, Virginia Latin Mass restrictions. So there are 3 parishes cut down from however many they had before. 3 parishes that offer the Latin Mass on Sundays. And the restrictions are that they are banned from saying the Latin Mass once a month. So one Sunday a month, they cannot have a Latin Mass at one of the parishes, so it's rotating which ones, and that started just this past Sunday. So St. Anthony's Mission was canceled on Sunday, and then there's St. Rita will have no Latin Mass on the second Sundays. St. John the Beloved will have no Latin Mass on fourth Sundays. So don't be caught by surprise. Plan ahead. So, and this is from the Arlington Latin Mass Society. They were pretty calm about it, but they said in order to preserve the availability of the Latin Mass beyond the recent 2-year indult extension, it is of utmost importance that we all continue to consistently attend Mass in the traditional rite each Sunday. Remember, the canceled Latin Masses are being replaced with gotcha Latin Novus Ordo masses in order to wean traditional Catholics off of the traditional liturgy, paving the way for even harsher restrictions in the future. When the Latin Mass is canceled at your usual parish, we urge you to visit the next nearest TLM available to you. So, yeah, don't fall for their tricks. Don't go to the Reverent Novus Ordo. It's just a trick to get you to quit the Latin Mass, and then once you do, then they'll cut out your Reverent Novus Ordo, and then you'll be stuck. So find a better solution. Even go to your local Novus Ordo. Even go to your local clown mass over the Reverent Novus Ordo, because again, it's just a trick. It's it's a trick. Okay, so the big news, and I actually have. Let me find this here. I'm going to Gloria TV because they posted another follow-up article about this. So I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure I'm right about this and find this information. Where's the news? Right there. Okay, so let's return. Addressing an interreligious meeting of young people in Singapore just before departing for his return flight to Rome, Pope Francis turned to one of the central themes of his pontificate, interreligious dialogue. Of course, that's a high priority. Leaving aside his prepared speech and speaking without a script, Francis said, "If we start to fight amongst ourselves and say, my religion is more important than yours, my religion is true, yours is not, where will that lead us? Where? It's okay to discuss between religions. Every religion is, okay, here we go. Every religion is a way to arrive at God." That's not my words, that's Francis's. There are different languages to arrive at God. But God is God for all. How is God God for all? We are all sons and daughters of God, but my God is more important than your God. Is that true? There is only one God, and each of us has a language to arrive at God. Sikh, Muslim, Hindu, Christian, they are different paths. Okay, so this is blatantly heretical. I mean, this is like so basically heretical. And then he said that, there are different paths. And he names Hindu. So, okay, tell me which god in Hindu is the true god? Because if there's only one god, they have multiple in the Hindus. The Hindus have multiple gods, so which one is the true one? That's a good one, but so this was so scandalous that the Vatican paraphrased what he said. So, the Vatican website, vatican.va, they had first published an English version that tried to make their remarks seem less heretical. They quoted it as, "Religions are seen as ways to reach God." And then they eventually edited it. It's not the first time the Vatican has changed translations to make Francis look more Catholic. The Italian transcript, Spanish, French, and Polish were accurate from the start. So they corrected the remarks. They had since corrected them as of yesterday. So, yeah, the Vatican tried to censor, essentially, Francis's crazy remarks. So, let's see. So that's that. Okay. On October 1st. Oh, here we go. Here's the next story. I want to read the comments before I read this last story. Let me see if I can read them when I twist my phone back. And I'm sorry that I guess I'm going to be sideways for you, but this is the only way I can read it. And I'm going to learn from my mistakes. And if I accidentally delete your comment, I really apologize because this is tough. All right, no TLM. Once a month, we'll go to twice a month. No TLM once a month, we'll go to no TLM twice a month. Okay, you're calling it. Reverent Novus Ordo would have a high altar communion only for the tongue, and the priests read the epistle and gospel. Therefore, it's like a unicorn and doesn't exist. Every language but not Latin. Um, I know a TLM goer. This is so weird. I have to twist my head because if I twist my phone locks and I can't read the comments. So I'm gonna have to do this differently next week. I know a TLM goer who has to go to the Novus Ordo for holy days due to his work schedule not allowing him to go to TLM since he has to be at work at 6 masses. Or yeah, well, I just go to it. If you have to do that, go to a really early Novus Ordo. If that's what you're really gonna do, go to a really early Novus Ordo and hope there's no singing. Um, and it's also probably going to be shorter. 5,000 bishops in the world, 4,998 completely silent. So he goes to Vigil Mass, he and his wife try. Well, it's not the Vigil, it's the anticipated Mass in the Novus Ordo. But anyway, his wife's trying to go to bed by 8 p.m., so the High Mass doesn't work. Okay, so... Oh, Kansas City Royals fan. Glad you can make it on the podcast. And I think your team... I think your team beat my Pirates pretty good. I don't want to call them my Pirates because they're so bad. But, I think we got crushed. Although, it's, yeah. I wanted to say that. You actually have a good team, and the Pirates don't. So, unless it's a Mary and him, those are usually safe. So, it's just the music. Like, I think. So, I was thinking about this, and it makes a lot of sense. So, there used to be like we used to sing. So, in the old Mass, we sing the propers for offertory and communion, but since they don't have music for the propers, then I don't know, maybe they do in the Novus Ordo, but they just invent these cheesy 80s and 70s 80s. It's not really as much 70s music now. It's more like 80s and 90s music. um, but those are all like the corporate Novus Ordo music that they have during communion and offertory instead of the propers. So yeah, Paul Skeens, he'll be a Yankee in 5 years because the owner's cheap and the Pirates won't win anything. That's just how it works. I mean, I think I'm actually more optimistic about the future of the Catholic. No, I'm far more optimistic about the future of the Catholic Church than the future of the Pirates. Even though we have Paul Skeens and several good young pitchers, it's not. I mean, your team's gonna be in the playoffs, and anyone has a shot. Pirates have to make the playoffs. I mean, how are you gonna do that? You're gonna do that with your batting average less than 200. I mean, you got to get people that can actually hit the ball. McCutcheon was great, but he's gonna retire in a year or two. He hasn't lost it completely yet, but I mean, if he's your best hitter and he's hitting like 250, okay, great. So at least you have a team that's winning. I don't know. The Pirates, they win, and then they get to the trade deadline and they fall off the face of the earth. So at least they didn't give up too much. Just keep your prospects and try to hope they get better because the owner's so cheap. He won't do anything. Okay. Anyway, no, minor rant. Sorry about that. All right. Okay, am I back? Yes. Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. That's what's really annoying about this. I'll get it fixed next week. The last story I want to tell you guys about. I can't even see how many people are on the live stream. I just know that you're on here because you're commenting. All right, the last thing I want to tell you guys about is we're only a few weeks away from the Synod. I mean, Francis made these crazy comments, but we're just a few weeks out from the Synod. In fact, in 2 weeks, October 1st, Francis will preside over a penitential service for the Synod. Penitential, in quotes. Testimonies will include a victim of abuse, a victim of war, and a migrant. Of course, a migrant. 5 people live. Oh, okay. Thanks. Um, the event will take place in the name of all the baptized. Why are they excluding people? Why does it have to be exclusive to the baptized? Anyway, sins will be invented, such as sin against creation, against indigenous peoples, against migrants. We have sinned. Yeah. The sin of using doctrine as a stone to be thrown. Have you sinned by using doctrine as a stone to be thrown? What does that even mean? Oh boy, Kansas City Royals fan. That's really uncomfortable. That's a really uncomfortable question. I can't answer that. You'll have to ask the Vatican. Um I think they would here. Let me answer you. Let me answer for the Vatican. I will say nothing. Okay, a sin against synodality. Oh my goodness, lack of listening, communion, and participation of all. Sin against synodality, lack of and participation of all. So, and Gloria TV points this out. Wouldn't Francis be guilty of this one for excluding trads? Oh no, I didn't. No, I pointed that out. That's my notes. Sorry. I'm out of sorts today. Wouldn't Francis be guilty of this one for excluding trads? I mean, the lack of listening and the participation of all, like, I mean, anyway. An ecumenical prayer service will be held on October 11th, the anniversary of the opening of the Second Vatican Council. How fitting. Chosen participants are largely unchanged from 2023. I haven't looked through the list. Archbishop William Lori of Baltimore will replace Cardinal Timothy Dolan of New York. I don't know who decided to choose him, but I think he's probably, if it was, I bet it was up to the USCCB because he's the vice president, and it seemed like most of the leadership team was participating in it. So I'm actually a little bit surprised he wasn't involved in the first place, but now he is. So sinned against the synod on synodality for versatile. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna take a while to sink in. This is gonna make for some clever memes, and I think so. If you guys are on Twitter, if you don't have a Twitter, don't join Twitter. But if you do have a Twitter, you need to follow the Synod Twitter page. It's called synod.va, and it is it's an absolute riot. I mean, it's like these guys are basically like, I don't know. It's almost like it's a try hard Buddha, I guess is what you would say. They try to have like these deep, profound spiritual quotes without being overly religious, of course. You know, we are Catholics; we shouldn't be religious. But um, the Synod Twitter page, it's an absolute riot. Don't take yourself too seriously, people. Go follow the Synod Twitter page. I mean, they don't have a lot of followers to begin with, so give them a little bit of sympathy, and you'll definitely make your day. It'll be a lot of laughs. Um, some of it's kind of baffling. It's hard to understand. I don't think it's someone whose first language is English that's running the account. I think it's more of like someone's trying to translate it to English, and so sometimes it just like I read it and I'm like, whoa, what does this even mean? Like, I mean, of course, the whole thing about synodality is like um, just making stuff up and trying to pretend like you're making some profound uh, statement or something. I don't know, some profound spiritual statement, but spiritual but not religious, right? But yeah, the synod is 2 weeks away, and what do you think's going to happen? I'd like to see you guys see your comments. See your guys' comments. Yeah. No. Speaking of in speaking incorrect English. That's what I just did. See your guys' comments. See your comments as to what you think will happen in the synod. So, a lot of people think that it's going to be something to do with women deacons. It's pretty. It seems like there's a pretty good consensus that they're going to try something with not ordained women deacons. I don't think women will be ordained under Francis. Of course, that it doesn't matter. It's constant revolution is a Marxist principle, and so you never know. He's very unpredictable, but it seems like that might not happen. But what will happen is like women preaching. Maybe they'll have like some kind of instituted ministry or whatever. Create something that women can preach. They can basically do everything except consecrate. In the Novus Ordo, they can basically do everything except pray the Eucharistic prayer, but they may be able to pray that in conjunction with the priest if the synod or whoever makes the decisions, Francis, some of his people make some crazy stuff. But also, like you see the Pachamama rite of Mass that's coming up, and it's like an experimental phase, and they may just create different rites of Mass, and then the priest has the option to say it, just kind of further fracturing the Novus Ordo. Um, and I think that's why people attend the Latin Mass is because of its consistency. It's precision and consistency. So you have to be very precise and exact with what you're saying and what you're doing. The priest has to do that, and the altar servers. It's almost like a military. Um, it's almost like a military march where they're with their precision and their responses, and it's really something. It's really really a great experience with the Latin Mass, and I think the options in the Novus Ordo are what really makes people kind of disappointed, and I think they may just create more options for the Novus Ordo so that if you don't if you like your plan you can keep it, right? I mean, it is political season, and that's what we heard. If you like your plan, you can keep it. If you like your mass, you can keep it. Except you, if you're a trad. Um, if you like your Novus Ordo, you can keep it. But if you don't, then your priest can make it more colorful or more rainbow or more inclusive to the indigenous or more. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Like maybe have a Spanish mass or something. Um, or you can have multiple languages in the same mass. That would be really inclusive, right? Because most people do not speak several languages. Maybe they can speak. Like I know that English is a second language in a lot of Europe. That's nice. There's two languages, so you could have both languages represented. Of course, you don't want to make the mass any longer, so you can have one reading in one language and another reading in another language, and it's really great because no one understands it. But then they don't want the Latin Mass because no one understands it. So, what exactly is the point? I was at a mass where someone read a reading in Arabic. I don't think anyone was it Arabic or was it different? I think the one time they read one of the readings in Spanish. Like, okay, great. Most people don't understand Spanish here, but they're just really being really inclusive. And then um, did they read it in Arabic? They read it in some language that like literally no one would understand it. I think. I don't remember. Maybe I just purged that memory from my mind, but it was very weird and I thought like what was the point? Like the Novus Ordo is in the vernacular specifically because they want people to understand it, so you're trying to create that language barrier. Aramaic. Maybe? I don't remember. This was a Novus Ordo. It was kind of weird a weird Novus Ordo parish. Like you have some that are kind of like normal like I don't know, like normie, I guess you would call it, where they like pray the rosary, and like some of the people pray the rosary. They have like rosary groups. Some of them go to like either the state or the National March for Life. Like they have a Knights of Columbus, and then some of them are just like straight up weird, and they're like far left, probably heretics. I mean, I guess I can't really judge that, but if you don't accept all the doctrines of the faith, what does that mean? So anyway, that's sort of a long, like a long rant. But what are your predictions? Let me know in the comments. And all right, and I'm going sideways again. So this has been sort of a disappointing live stream, just because I couldn't. It took long enough to get my technology to work, and then I guess it's not even like that great because I'm still sideways. So, and then if you turn your phone sideways, it's going to auto flip. So you're just looking at me sideways now. But anyway, we'll get it fixed. No, we won't get it fixed. I'll get it fixed, and you will, and that you'll be able to watch it better, I guess. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.